guys,
I'm Hallee,
and I'm Jamie.
and this is Literal Nonsense.
Hey guys,
Hey.
we are on part 2 of Crescent City. I literally forgot what we were doing, what book.
Honestly,
If it was part 2, part 1, I had no idea. I was lost. Oh god. Okay, so
Jamie.
before we even get started, I'm really, really desperately upset with myself. I'm actually really upset by this. So I don't know where the book case, like the cover to this book is.
The dust jacket?
Yes,
You lost it?
gone. I'm literally plotting to go to Barnes Noble and steal one off another book and then hide it. Like I'm panicking. And I also was reading this book outside, and like you can't really see. Oh, you see how it's like a little wrinkly?
Oh, yeah. Ew, from the heat?
I guess. And I was like, what? Like, did the glue melt? So I need a dust jacket because that's horrible.
That
Which
is
this
terrible.
this doesn't bother me. As if I had the dust jacket, I'd be fine. Like, it's not. The pages are fine. Like it didn't wrinkle. Like nothing happened. So I'm not too upset about the wrinkly book cover
Uh-huh.
as much as I am the dust jacket. And I'm like, I literally, like the other day, confronted Ryan and I was like, did the dogs eat it and you hit it? Like, I need to know. Like, I'm going crazy. And he said no. He swore.
Uh-oh.
But I'm going to go to Barnes Noble and steal one.
It has to be somewhere in your house.
You would think. But I think I'm going to go and steal one. I think that's my.
Barnes & Nobles, if you're listening, Jamie
Right.
is
So
guilty.
maybe what we could do next week, we can go buy Housemaid since that's going to be like our next thing. And like while we're there, I'll just swap it real quick.
Oh, great. Make me a fucking part of your dirty plot. Great.
Yes, that's exactly what I want to do. Okay, so that
Make
was
me
all
an
I had
accomplice.
That was my update for you.
Jesus Christ.
I'm so upset by it.
Love that.
Also, I'm going to say it on the air so that you are held accountable. We're going to join a book club.
Oh, I hate you so much, Jamie.
I think it would just be good. Simply. Also that book they're reading for June, I'm not convinced about it. It sounds interesting. I feel like it's like I've seen it on like Book Talk a lot.
I don't even remember what it was called.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Well, might as well shout it out because I think we're really gonna do this. Honestly, it looks fun, so I'm into it. It's NJ Book and Sip Club. Check them out. Well, only from New Jersey. If you're not, then that makes no sense. Unless you want to fly here. Whatever. So hold on, let me go look. It's a book that I feel like is popular. Hold on. Because now I'm like, ooh, should we read that?
Anyways, I have been reading like a fiend because I
I'm
need
so
to read
jealous.
in order to stay sane. And because Crescent City is still taking us quite a while to get through.
That shit is crazy.
I've been reading other books. So right now I'm reading She Started It, which is like kind of like a thriller. So basically, these 4 girls get like an invite to go to a bachelorette party in the Bahamas on like this like desert island kind of thing, like the private island. The bride like paid for their first flight tickets and like took care
That
of
wasn't
everything.
me.
And I was like, damn, Jamie, you suck. But the twist is, okay, this is where I originally was like, this is so stupid. The bride was bullied by the 4 bridesmaids that are coming to her bachelorette party.
She
First of
kills
all,
them.
she didn't even ask them to be her bridesmaids. She was just asked them to come to the bachelorette party, and it's only the 5 of them on this private island.
She's gonna kill him.
Well, this bitch is dead, so who's really killing who? I don't know.
Interesting. I like books like that. Lucy Foley writes a lot of books like that. Like in the beginning, someone dies and you have to figure out who and who did it. I also, while you were talking, figured out what book they're reading in June. It's Hunting Adeline.
Oh yeah.
And apparently it's like one of those like little Instagram things where it tells you what it's about, and it's like touch her and die, enemies to lovers, lots of peppers for spicy, cliffhanger, 4 stars on Goodreads, and murder mystery. So I'm actually like not opposed to that.
Okay.
And they did like same thing like how we do on our Instagram, like voting for which books to read. But yeah, I have seen that on TikTok. That was really a long way to get to that small point I wanted to make.
We got there in the end.
We did. I'm excited to read things that aren't SJM. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying reading a new book that I haven't read before.
Yeah.
Like again, since we just did a whole huge reread, but
Hmm.
I am ready for other thrillers, other mysteries, other romances,
Yeah.
other things.
I've had like I have like 600 something books on my like want to read list on
Of
Goodreads.
yes,
So I'm like trying to like,
chip them
read those
down.
books. Yeah, chip them down.
Well, and then all the ones that I'm making you read this summer, you don't want to read.
I know. So it's
So
like
sorry.
whatever.
But we have a lot of fun. I'm excited for the summer. I think it's gonna be like just like a like lighthearted, like we had to write like notes, theorize, research. I'm excited for a summer of just literally bullshitting with you.
Yeah, seriously. I can't wait to read all these stupid books you want me to
Yeah.
read and I can
Like
just fucking trash on them.
yeah, like guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. We're really not gonna do like another like theorizing analytical like fantasy thing until fourth wing in January when we cover that. Like we're just
Yeah,
not. We're doing just all fun
we're
things.
over it. Sorry.
I would love to. Oh, and like October we'll do like spooky things, like even like Frankenstein or Dracula. Like we'll tell like so much fun.
Yeah.
So
Look
yeah, we
at
might do
Jamie
like.
thinking of things.
Oh yeah, our like list of episodes is never ending. I keep
I'm
adding
just
to
here for
it.
the ride.
I need to
Jamie's the
organize.
planner. I'm not.
Yeah, and I need things to plan, or else I go crazy. So this is like good for me as like an outlet. Like this
I'm
is productive. Other
I'm
than that,
glad.
I'll like start organizing my like fucking
Sock drawer.
yeah, and it's ridiculous. So exciting. Okay.
Anyways, let's get to the topic of conversation here.
Yes. And so today we did it even a little bit different than last week. We essentially have not talked. Like last week we wrote notes of bullet points to hit. This week we kind of are like, fuck it, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
So fuck it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So we are doing Crescent City, Flame and Shadow, Part 2, which is called The Search, and it is pages 271 through 577, and it's chapters 28 through 64.
Sick.
So let's get going. Okay, so we ended off, and Bryce is like, see you later. And she opens a fucking portal and dips out. And we were like speculating, does she even do this successfully? What's going on?
Hmm.
So yeah, she completely does world jump successfully and ends up right in her daddy's study. And we were like, oh, that was really. I was waiting for a twist or something, and there was none.
Yeah.
She was like, hey, dad, what's up? So she's in the Autumn King's study. He's being weird. I don't know. He's
He's
like
always weird though. This is how he
he
is.
he is always weird.
He's like
I
detached from reality, but like a vicious fucking asshole.
but then like he also has moments of caring, and I'm very confused. Like, being like, oh, like I loved your mom, I regret it, or like, oh, whatever. But then you
Hmm.
find out he was like burning Rune his whole childhood, and he's like
Yeah.
fucked up to Bryce. Like he gives me such mixed vibes. Like I kept thinking like he was gonna have a redemption, in the sense of like, oh, he was just bad because of trying to like save face with the Asteri, but he was undercover. Like I was getting that vibe for a while.
Hmm.
We will discuss what happens because that's not what happens.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So yeah, and so there's a lot of comparisons at this point between Bryce and the Autumn King. Just even like the way they stand, the way they talk, their
Hmm.
hair,
Which I thought was interesting.
yeah.
Like that, a lot of what Bryce's like mannerisms and the looks on her
Mm-hmm.
faces, like it would always like just like the Autumn King or like resembling the Autumn King, and I was like, this is
So now I guess my
interesting.
question for that or for you is, as I'm thinking out loud as well, could that just be an allusion to the fact that like he's a king, like Bryce is like a
Maybe.
queen? You know what I'm saying? Is it maybe not so much that him and her are like, or that she has like, you know, this air of like ruling and
Oh,
like being a ruler? I
yeah,
wonder.
maybe I didn't think of that.
Me either until right now.
So smart.
That's why, guys, we're doing this live. I told you it's gonna be just crazy. Okay.
Crazy.
Anyways,
Crazy? I
so
was crazy once. They put me in a room, a rubber room,
I was waiting.
a rubber
Oh,
room with rats. Rats? I hate rats.
I don't know how long you were gonna go into it, so I was like, I'm just gonna
I
let
could
her.
keep going, but let me not.
I feel that's a good cutoff. And so, okay, so the Autumn King tells Bryce some shit. He's like, hey, the swords, when they're connected, they'll make a portal to nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Great.
great. I don't like my glasses right now. I'm taking them off.
Is
So
it just
yeah.
like a void, like
So this is where
just
I
a
have.
pocket in
I
time?
think so because I did. This is the only spoiler I heard for the entire book. So I guess spoiler because it still hasn't happened. Is that she goes on like a black hole journey. So I'm like, I'm just fucking
That's
shit.
literally Aelin when she fucking jumps
We're gonna
through.
talk about this because we're gonna talk about this.
Ugh.
So okay, so Bryce finds this out, right? Okay, they make a portal to nowhere. It's like a black hole void. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so now Bryce is fucking around with her powers. She also decides to lock her father in the basement. She's like, LOL, and she also reveals to him like, oh, I actually tried to transport here. You thought I was being a stupid bimbo, and I accidentally wound up here. But I knew you knew about the sword, so I came here on purpose. And I'm like, girl, I didn't even think that you were that calculated, but okay.
Yeah.
Um, and so she uses his little prism device, and her light now has a darkness aspect to it, and she refers to it as dusk. So Bryce is Dusk Court Queen.
Yeah, she's full on dusk mode.
She's Duskin. So great. So okay, how do you feel about the fact that like she's back in Midgard like already, and like
I was like, wow, that was a short trip.
yeah,
Literally,
yeah.
I mean, like, it was like fine, I guess. I mean, I kind of figured she would end up there eventually sometime in this book, right?
Yeah, I just wish that it didn't almost like work right away. Like the fact that now she's like
It's
she
also
wanted to go
easy.
there. Right. Yes, like she's like almost all powerful. Like
Like,
she's like,
she,
"Oh, I want to go to my dad, so that's where I'm
yeah,
going."
like,
What?
she just, like, she was planning to go to hell, but she so happened to end up in the homeland of the Fae.
Right.
Okay, great, good for you.
That made sense cuz she has no idea how to do this.
Yeah, and then when she's there, she ends up in the tunnels. She's trying to escape, and then she finds out all this information. She's like, "Well, I guess I got all the information I needed." And then I guess for whatever reason was like, "Oh, let me fucking teleport to my dad's study."
Right. Like which again, it makes sense that you want to learn about the swords and he was like all obsessed with this shit, right? But like I'm just shocked that you again were like I tried to do this and here I am. And I'm like,
It's just
"Can
like
you
the
just jump
plot.
worlds all the time now?" I'm
Yeah, but it's like
confused.
I know exactly, and that like the plot line is just like I don't
Like
want to
this
say
was supposed to be hard.
like it's too direct.
Yeah, yeah. Like I wish that I wish she tried to go to her dad's and actually ended up in hell or like something. That'd be more like
But see,
I know.
this is my thing, right? So it's like Bryce's plot line, like this whole book so far, has been very direct, right? As I just mentioned.
Mhm.
But like it's like almost like SJM is trying to fill in for like some chaos. Now she's making all these stupid fucking side quests with all the remaining
Mm,
characters.
yeah, which I know you felt passionate about that. Like that was the only thing you really mentioned to me about your thoughts.
Yeah,
Um
we'll get into it.
yeah, and so okay, basically Bryce is there. She has this whole plan. She learned about the swords. Okay, great. Like I'm glad you learned about that. And so now she's like, "All right, cool. I can go back to like my friend." And that's where we go next basically.
Yeah. So okay. So last time like Hunt, Baxian, and Rune were down in the dungeons, about to die. Because the hawk was like, "Oh, Hunt, you need to pick one of your friends to die." Um, and
I wish he picked Baxian and then like they weren't saved till after.
yeah. Well, anyway, so regardless, like, of course, I guess like again with this too, like I was waiting for someone to die, but no one dies. So
Mm-hmm.
Lydia sweeps in and fucking saves the three of them from the dungeons, and
Which Baxian, by the way, didn't know Lydia was like a double agent, and he's like, "What?"
yeah,
Like, he's like, "Holy shit!" Which I thought that was great. Like I
yeah.
love that
I mean that was good for sure.
because
Um,
imagine they both like thought each other were like, well, obviously Lydia found out when Baxian became a prisoner, but he was like, "Yo, you were the biggest raging bitch."
well, I guess she did her job well, and like she mentions
Yeah,
that, she was like, "I'm glad you hated me."
right, exactly. But I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, like the best thing about that escape was that she fucking kills the hawk, which was iconic,
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
and to the bloodhounds or whatever. So
Yeah.
whatever, they get in the car and she's driving like a mad woman to get to the depth charger for them
Which
to escape into the
amazing
ocean,
as well.
which was awesome. Yeah, for sure. And then of course, the whatever
Oh,
the
Murdoch
yeah, Murdoch and those fucking
are
wolf
chasing
things. Yeah,
her.
the death hounds or whatever they're called
Mm-hmm.
are chasing
Dreadwolves.
dreadwolves, and
Yeah.
they're like about to intersect them. So Lydia's like skirt like off the side of the road and like fucking drives them to the ocean and like deposits them, and they have to fly away and do an aerial landing onto the depth charger, whatever it's called, the
But
submarine.
she like sacrifices herself. She's like
Yes.
turns into a deer and she's like, "Bye."
Yeah, so like she turns into her deer form and she's like fucking prancing up the mountain, and they're like, what is she gonna do, because the mountain falls to a drop in the ocean, and then like fucking Murdoch catches up to her, and then she fucking jumps off the edge and he
She
shoots
shoots her.
her,
Yeah.
and then she falls in the water, but like Therian kind of gets her so she doesn't completely obliterate when she lands on the water because it's from
Which,
so high
but
up.
okay, and see, I guess here's my thing. I just want to mention this because there's gonna be points where I feel like we're gonna feel differently. In my opinion, right? The fact that she was shot, she jumped, Farian saved her. That's still very fantasy, like nick of time saved someone almost too late. But I didn't mind this one.
Hmm.
I was fine with this. This is
I
fine
wonder I
because
wonder if I didn't find it as annoying because
we like her.
it's Lydia.
Maybe.
Like if it was somebody else,
I'm sick of people fully dying and coming back
yeah,
in these books.
yeah,
Like
well,
Reese, Amryn, we're going to talk about it in this episode. Like, I like that she got shot, yes, but like she wasn't fully dead.
yeah,
And like they saved her and it was like they said that she basically was dead, but like I that was fine for me. Like
yeah.
you saved her in the nick of time.
No,
You were
yeah.
all in the area. It wasn't like this happened 3 days ago, you got her body back, now you saved her. I'm like over
Mhm.
that shit. I'm over it.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I was definitely having like a lot of reactions. I was like, oh my god, like I love you, Lydia, like what the ultimate sacrifice, girl, like you go,
I
yeah,
love
and then
you,
like
Lydia.
she's falling off the fucking cliff, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
also, okay, so basically, they all end up on the Death Charger. They're all saved. There's First Light
Mhm.
on the boat, so or the submarine, so they're all getting stitched back together. My biggest question was like, what is with the Asteria and the mist? Because like that was noted that like they
Mhm.
can't breach Avalon because of the
The
mist that
miss.
surround it, and then also we learned that like fucking the Rigilis, right? He wanted Hunt's lightning because apparently his lightning can resurrect the dead. So now you're like, okay, so now this is gonna lead into a whole nother plot line, which we've been asking for because we're like, what's Hunt's deal? Who's his dad?
Yes.
What's his power used for? Whatever. But what fucking pissed me off, which should come as no surprise, is that like Lydia wakes up from being healed and she like just is like in a frantic state, and she's running around the fucking submarine, and she's like has her hand on like the door of like a schoolroom, and she's watching these two boys in class, and I'm like, already I was like, oh fuck, I was like, seriously. So long story short, she has two kids, and I was like, really, bro, fucking another child trope, I'm over it.
I
Like
was waiting for you to say that. But
I think it
this
was a way to like almost like further humanize her.
agreed. And she makes a point of that to Rune as well. Like, because he was pissed at her. He didn't talk to her the whole time he was being tortured, whatever. And now he's all about Lydia because she almost died, right? Like
Yeah.
he's like, whatever. And she even makes a point and she's like, what? Because I have two sons and I fit into
Yeah.
your like battered woman. Like now you want
Mhm.
to forgive me? She's like, fuck you. Like
Yeah.
I was this before you knew and you didn't want to forgive me, you know?
Exactly,
So
yeah.
she almost like plays into like that cynical view that you hate. Like,
That's true,
I
yeah.
didn't need two sons for you to feel sympathy for me. But granted,
Yeah.
she wrote it, so she does have two sons.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the whole two sons thing.
I don't know, I just feel like it's unnecessary. Like it's an unnecessary part of the plot.
I'm gonna say a controversial thing. I feel like SJM this book wrote a lot of things like that, where it was like, I have two sons, or Bryce was like whatever, or like we're gonna talk about Tristan's sister. We'll get into that.
Mhm.
I feel like she wrote so much about like women aren't for breeding, and I was like, girl, we get it. Like I know you're a feminist. I
Mm.
understand. Um, we'll talk about like the royal lineage and stuff too. I have a lot of thoughts. And it's probably gonna be controversial because it's very much over like the wokeness, to be honest with you. So we'll chat in a little bit. I'm just gonna say it. I
Honestly,
am.
I didn't even really
Oh, I have
pick
many
up
thoughts
on
about
that
it.
theme like at all. But I think it's just because like when I
Mm-hmm.
read, I just get very emotionally invested in like the characters in terms of like where the plot is going,
Yeah,
that I don't
no,
think of those subtleties. You know what I mean?
I don't know why it was glaring to me, this book.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it.
All right. Well,
I know a part when I want to bring it up, so I will remember.
all right, cool. Because I won't remind you. Anyways, so yeah, now they're all in the submarine and they're like, we need to speak to the Ocean Queen. So
Mm-hmm.
Sendiz is like, oh, you're in luck because she's coming tomorrow or whatever.
Because she's pissed because
So,
Tharion's just fucking being an asshole to everyone. Everyone wants to
well,
kill him.
yeah, because he's being fucking annoying. Like,
He
he
is.
was okay, and we'll get into that. But like, anyways, so they come, they meet the Ocean Queen, and the Ocean Queen's like fucking badgering all of them, like you like going off, and then all of a sudden, fucking Bryce appears in the room. Like,
Yes.
I was like,
What?
I was like,
Because
oh, of
again, now
course,
she can just easily do this. Like, they're in the middle of the fucking ocean and she's like, hey, what up? Like, I'm over the fact that you literally couldn't even fucking teleport before fucking last book, end of the
literally,
book. And
yeah.
now you're like an all powerful fucking world and
Hmm.
space jumper. I mean,
All the powers going to her head, you
she
know.
got, and honestly, correct. She's cocky this book. I don't like her fucking attitude.
She does have an attitude, especially with Hunt.
Yes. What's your fucking attitude? So we're going to talk about that as well.
Yeah. But I
Yeah,
did think it was interesting though with the Ocean Queen that we do find out like she was there before the Asteri, and
yes.
I like learning about like that stuff, like the history, cuz I feel like we learned a lot of it, but like the fact that we're still kind of learning more is like,
And
I
we're
thought we were
gonna
done, but then it was like surprise surprise, but like I don't know
um,
how
we're gonna learn more.
important.
We're gonna learn more again.
Yeah.
God.
But anyways, but like Lydia makes comments to Rune because now Rune is like, kind of wants to be all over her again. She's like, kind of like, fuck off. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing with the battered woman thing.
And like we said last episode, I mean, my thoughts on again, I'm very passionate about this as well. Yeah, she's right. Like fuck you, Rune. Like now you
Well,
want to be nice? I mean, you
yeah,
again knew I was a spy. I was a powerful person to get all this information. So, what did you expect? Like
yeah,
I get if you need again adjustment. He's not adjusting. He was being a dickhead.
yeah. No, like he was like, it was almost like in a pity me kind of thing. Like you
Yeah.
played me.
Yeah, and she's like, "Okay, like my life sucks. Like what do we my life still sucks." Like
Yeah, literally. Like her life does
so
suck for
I
real.
I appreciate her.
She's.
I'm glad that she didn't just run back to him.
I agree. I'm glad that she's kind of giving him a little,
Yeah.
fucking resistance.
Yeah. And again, I don't mind the kid thing, but you do. But it's understandable for that to be our stances. So
But that's just me. I just like get tired of like the whole like
no,
you're
I
the
get it.
child. Ah, nah.
Yeah. Lord, because
Like
like
just give
you
me the
shouldn't
nitty gritty, bro.
well and also you shouldn't need a child to humanize yourself.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
that's also like her point. Like you said, like that was probably used to like make her seem softer and this and that. And it's like she shouldn't need kids to make her seem like she had a tragic story.
Yeah,
Like she had a tragic story.
yeah.
So yeah, um, I get your point. I don't hate it because I'm just like don't care that much, but
Hmm.
I understand.
I don't hate it. I'm just kind of like over it,
Yes, agreed. That's totally fair. And so now they all have to go to Avalon for answers because Bryce again has the sword and the dagger, and she knows her dad has information,
Yeah.
but
She's like, I'm going. I don't care. I'm gonna find a way.
and so basically, they decide their little group, they're going to split into team caves and team archives. So some people are going to the caves where the sword was found. Some people are going to the archives to look in books for answers of the history, see if they can find any information out. So Bryce's team caves, Rune, and like Deck and Tristan are team archives with Lydia, whatever. So now they get to this place. It's, Avalon's veiled in mists, very mysterious. Okay, this boat pulls up, because she's a starborn. And so, like, a
Hmm.
boat comes out to, like, get them. And it's a stag. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Automatically, same thing, Throne of Glass. I'm like, what's
Hmm.
going on here? This is going to connect to Throne of Glass. Like, I'm without a doubt believing that. Also, I didn't mention this, and I forgot to mention this in the Lydia section when they were in the depth charger,
Hmm.
because now we're going into Avalon, everyone. She is handing like a ruby to her kids, and she's from a line of like stag shifters and like deer shifters, like
Hmm.
stag and deer. Okay, Aelin has a ruby ring.
Oh, I
So, I
forgot about
mean,
that.
Lydia has to be a descendant of Aelin and Rowan in some sense, I would think.
Probably.
Um,
I mean, that's what I thought. Like, the more we learn about Evelyn, I'm like, bruh, come on. This is fucking Throne of Glass.
Yeah, so I agree with you, and we'll get into that as well. And so yeah, basically like they get in, it's pretty like a fucking doorbell. And Tharian is like last second because the depth charger can't pierce the mist. Like the Asteri can't, the depth charger can't. And so Tharian knows the Ocean Queen is pissed. She's pissed because the River Queen and the Viper Queen both have a bounty for Tharian's head, and she's like, "Bro, you're causing all these problems." And
Yeah.
he's like, "What is one more queen who wants my head?" And so he jumps off the submarine and joins them and is like, I will hide here, lol.
Yeah,
And I'm
because he
like,
was ordered by the Ocean Queen to stay on the Depth Charger.
correct. So now he's
And
like,
he was like,
I
yeah,
will
nah.
do not that. Okay. Yeah, he has a death wish. I'm
He
like,
was really annoying me. Like,
yeah,
I'm fully over him.
I loved him and Ethan. Hate them both this book.
Yeah, same.
We'll get into that. So they get into Avalon. The man's I don't even know what his fucking what's the uncle's name? Nope.
Morven.
Morven. Thank you very much. Is it Morven?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know how I felt if that sounded right or not.
Yeah, King Morven.
Okay, sounds good. I believe you.
His name is
And
Morven.
right. And so Morven has two creepy fucking mind magic twins. They're icky. Yeah, I agree. They're giving Hybern's niece and nephew from Akatar. We got more twin, weird, creepy vibes happening. Okay. Flynn. So he is mentioning how his magic shrivels up and dies on Avalon.
Yeah.
Also,
Oh,
it's
that
kind of
was
like the
interesting.
first time that you ever hear that Flynn has elemental earth magic.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Convenient.
Yeah.
Um, it's literally just for the point of the fact that it's dying on Avalon.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Now, Flynn's sister's here.
Ugh.
She was captured, basically because Morven's an asshole and he's like not like giving people refuge on this island from the Asteri because it is safe from them, and
Hmm.
he's like only allowing them to have refuge if they agree for like a marriage pact to like breed into the Fey lines and yada yada. Again, very much a point so that Bryce can be like, don't use our women, which I agree, like,
Hmm.
but I'm just saying it's literally like, okay. Um,
It is mentioned a lot.
yeah. And
Especially when
so,
Bryce and her get into it.
yes, and they're like, never again will we bow for men. I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay. Which again, I'm gonna get into this in a little bit, so I'm not gonna like pop off yet. So basically the sister's being held captive because they're like, we can't trust her here without a husband.
Yeah, her
Like
name is
she will
Sathya.
Sathya will cause a ruckus. I didn't know how to say it and I didn't know what it was, so I'm glad that I just wasn't gonna say it at all.
I think that's how it's said.
I like it. And so basically, um, Tharion's like, I will claim her. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is what got you in the first debacle.
Yeah, now you wanna fuck
Okay, wait, can I tell you a spoiler? Which I think is fucking insane.
I
Please.
guess.
I have to. I saw a meme.
What?
Okay. Spoiler, guys, skip ahead 2 minutes. So I saw a meme, and it was like a quote, and it was like, if I had a nickel for every time Tharion proposed after first meeting someone, I would only have two nickels, but it's weird it happened twice, right? So that was the first meme. And then it
Hmm.
was a slider, and then it was like page whatever, like further in the book. And then it was like, if I had a nickel for every time Tharion did this, I'd have three nickels. And I'm like, he does it again?
Who else, bro?
Right. So I knew you'd hate it, so I had to tell you.
Yeah, because I'm annoyed. Because why?
Why does it happen again? Okay,
I
then
mean,
I'll
like,
also like convince this girl dies because,
oh, true. I didn't think of that. But anyways, like, my thing is like, okay, like
What?
he explains that like he did it because like, oh, like he wished somebody would have stepped up for his sister. Like,
Okay, but she
okay,
wasn't trying to get married. She was murdered.
yeah, like I don't know. I mean, like I can understand, okay, from like an older brother perspective, whatever. But like, it's just like a because then that's another plot line, right? Like
Yeah, like
why?
why did you introduce this girl? I didn't even know he had a sister.
I think it was mentioned like once.
Oh, gee, thank you. Like, not you, but like, thanks,
Yeah,
Sarah.
yeah. I that thing like pissed me off because I was like, okay, now this random fucking another
Yeah,
Fey female is gonna have another fucking plot line. Like this is just like,
right. She doesn't introduce characters in this book as artfully as she has. Like, Akhtar was a relatively small circle.
mhm.
And I liked that. Throne of Glass had an immense number of characters, but she introduced them artfully. I don't feel like she's
Yeah,
introducing them artfully in this series.
it's almost like they're just like kind of thrown in. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and now here's this person, and they're actually gonna like have this big thing.
Right, and it's like Throne of Glass. Obviously, it's more books, so it's just gradual. I think she's gotten so popular that she's trying to pump out the books, and like Throne of Glass was again, it's a fucking what 8 series
Yeah.
or 8 book series. I don't even know how many books. There's a lot of them. So you can like slowly do things. I feel like now
Mm.
she's doing a lot of like trilogy type stuff, and it's
She's selling out, man.
yeah. I don't know. And so okay, so Hunt and Bryce are like weird vibes. We're gonna talk about this.
Very
Um,
off.
they end up having sex, and their powers again during sex. It's like a whole thing. He feels like he got some of her power. She got some of his. Like it's like a whole interchanging of things. Again, I'm like, is it Karen? Which that was my first reaction. We're going to discuss why this is a thing because we find
Yeah.
out why they're so compatible power wise. But yeah, I'm like not convinced they're mates. I don't think they're mates. Uh,
No, they're mates. They declared that they are mates.
yeah, right. They declared it. Well, I can declare I'm a fucking shoe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a shoe. I don't know. I just feel like an Akatar and Throne of Glass mates are very much like your predetermined partner, and
Yeah.
they very much so just said it. So I don't know. I'm not convinced.
And yeah, and there's like an illusion about
Yes.
that that's talked about, so we'll go into that.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about Hunt and Bryce at this point? In general.
Um Honestly, I feel like they're almost like not irrelevant, but like
Yeah.
the punch that I was hoping for has not
Hmm.
come yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and
Like
also
that
like she's
soul
being a bitch to
defying.
him.
Yeah, she is being mean because well, Hunt doesn't want to be. He's like he's okay. He's self pitying for sure. He's like it's all my fault, and
Right,
Bryce is like
but
it's all our fault. Like we all decided to go into this. I think
hmm
he's like kind of playing into the self pity kind of thing, but like Bryce is also being mad annoying because she was like, "Well, why aren't you doing what I'm saying? Why aren't you like
yeah,
fully
like
supporting me? You fully supported Shahar and whatever." And
yeah.
like, but that's the reason why he doesn't want to because he
Like
doesn't want
he
things to end up
right.
the same way.
Right, like he's traumatized. He also just got tortured for weeks on end, which again, I get that she was nervous about him, but she literally makes a point. She's like, while you were being tortured, I was really upset that you were being tortured. I'm like, well, he was being tortured. And again, like I feel like she got this like new part of her power when she went to Prithian, and she just
Yeah,
thinks she's the baddest
yeah,
bitch. Like
she
she
does.
already had an inflated ego, and I think this made it worse, to be honest with
Hmm.
you.
Yeah,
Um,
The Bryce from previous books is. I feel the vibe is definitely different from the Bryce in this books
yeah,
now.
she's no longer humble. I'm over her a little bit.
Like I kind of hope
I
that she turns evil. Like
Yeah, like
let's
I'd
just
be
really
down. Yeah, I'd be down for like a Game of Thrones Daenerys
yeah.
flip and fucking kill her. Like that's what I want from Sarah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want this book is turning into a Throne of Glass knockoff, and we're going to talk about that in a second.
Yes.
But give me something new. Fucking make Bryce just slowly turn evil and then fucking kill her. Like that would be a crazy book.
Yeah, and even
Why
though like
not?
we would be devastated, I think I would love
Would
it
I
10
be?
times
I'd be
more.
like, yeah, I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Well, I'd be
Like, I
devastated in
want to
the
be crying, like, oh my god, she
no, yeah, of
turned
course.
evil and Hunt had to kill her, and this is devastating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we would be devastated, like holy shit, like that happened. But like
It'd be
also it
great.
would leave a good impact and be like, wow, like that was a crazy fucking book.
Yeah, I want to. That's what I'm missing. I think reading Akatar all at once like this is just. It was cool, the multiverse, how it's similar. Now you're just giving me the same stuff, Sarah, and I need you to change it up for me.
Yeah, we need something. You
Yes.
can't have people just like fucking prancing around and
And again,
just
very
like all of a sudden
similar
discovering their powers and then like saving the world.
and like similar lore and like all this stuff, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I just think, I mean, again, I agree. I think Bryce is being a bitch, but if she's gonna turn evil and Hun has to kill her, I fully support it then. That's the only way in which her behavior is not annoying to me. And now again, Rune and Lydia are kind of being cutesy now. Like they're like starting to like start flirting and like be like a
Yeah.
little they're researching the books. They're starting to open up. I like them a lot. Them, I'm like, give me more of them.
They're the new OTP.
Anyone else, throw them out.
Yeah.
Throw them right in the trash.
And also like, I don't know. Even too like I think you were mentioning last episode too, like the whole like even like the sex scenes with Bryce and Hunt, like they're just like
Ick. They're ick.
yeah, they're not good. And like when did Ruth and Lydia have sex? No, right? But they were like messing around or something. Whatever that scene was, like that was written 30 times
Yeah.
better than any of the Hunt and Bryce ones.
Yes. No. Okay. So yeah. So Rune and Lydia, how they start like flirting and such. It does like sorry, like Hallie mentioned, end up in like a hookup scene because they don't have sex. But it's because he like goes to like grab her hands and put them over her head, and she like flinches because
Oh
obviously
yeah.
Pollux like abuses her, and even that was like so well done in the sense of like
Yeah,
you felt an emotional connection. He was like, "Oh, I'm so
definitely.
sorry," and he was like, "Just
Hmm.
stay here and sleep with me, like we'll just snuggle."
Yeah,
Um, I think, and here's my hot take: even that, like that's still like new for her couples, right? But I think just reading Sarah's couples over and over, they're all very similar. Like there's personality traits that are different in each, for
for
sure. I'm
sure.
not arguing that. But I'm just saying, like, when I start thinking of like Zayden and Violet, 10 times better than all of them. I feel it. I'm invested. When they're
Yeah,
arguing, I'm annoyed. I'm like, figure it out.
yeah.
These people, I'm like, when Bryce and Hunt are fighting, I don't fucking care. I'm like, keep
I know.
fighting.
I'm like, come
You know what I'm
on,
saying?
let's wrap this up.
Like, oh my god, super loud motorcycle. Like, obviously we're doing Fourth Wing like forever from now, but like book two of Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, when like their communication, like Zayden and Violet are fighting the whole time. I'm
Hmm.
like, I feel like I'm fighting with my boyfriend. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like, we need to work this out.
yeah.
Like, I
We need
feel,
to
but
figure this out.
again, agreed. I'm annoyed reading that because I'm like, guys, just talk, communicate. But like the fact that it's drawn out, it like elicits a reaction. I feel like everything happens with these books now fast. Sarah's giving
Hmm.
us fast answers, fast results,
Yeah,
fast plot lines. Oh, here's a new character randomly. Like it's all too rushed.
it's starting to get like convoluted. Like I
I
texted you and I was like, this book is superfluous because like it is. Like there's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of unnecessary plot. And a lot of it revolves around
mm-hmm.
Flynn and Deck,
Right.
Ethan, fucking Therian now. Like
Right. Well, and people were saying that. I've seen some people being like, even like her like lore and like her reasonings. I'm
Jesus.
yawning because I'm so that she's boring me. No, I'm
She's
kidding.
this bitch is boring.
People were like, yeah, it even like got like convoluted in that sense. Like she's not making sense, which I don't. I feel like it's adding up to me.
Hmm.
I don't feel like it's not making sense.
It's making
I
sense. It just
just
feels extra, like
and
unnecessary.
it feels convenient. So I
Yeah.
want to especially touch on that point after we talk about the Cave of Princes
Okay, yeah.
because that's I'm sorry that whole was convenient.
It was convenient.
So let's talk about that because I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
mixed.
All right, so we're back in Avalon now.
So
And
yeah, we have Team Caves and Team Archive. So Rune, Deck, and
Flynn
Tristan, yeah,
and
whatever,
Lydia.
are doing the archive. So that's when
uh,
like they're having sex, yada yada, whatever. Also, I'll just mention this before you start your point because it's relevant. Deck and Flynn like they're not showing up, and Rune is kind of like not caring because he's like pursuing Lydia. I don't think that was that out of pocket. He does eventually realize that they're not coming. I think it made sense when he was like, "Oh, they're being assholes and trying to like make us talk." Because friends would do that. They would stay away just to like,
Hmm.
you know what I'm
See, I
saying?
didn't. I get that, but like that, as soon as they mentioned that they were gone, I was like, does no one else find this suspect?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
I
think,
already knew something was up. I was like, all right, Sarah, what are you gonna do now?
um, yeah, I don't think I was sussed out actually, which is
Oh,
funny because I literally was like, I was like, these sneaky fucks are making them talk. Like I was like genuinely like they're in on it too.
but
I
where could they have gone? Because everything's empty. There's no one
no,
around.
yeah,
Everyone's ordered away from them. So I was like,
I think that's
weird
just
vibes.
I think that's just me like just being like sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that definitely was like a lapse on my judgment, but yeah, like I was just like fuck it. Like I was like if it gets them together, then I support it. Good job, boys. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
again, I was obviously wrong.
Yeah.
But oh, sorry. I'm throwing things. Yeah, anyway, so that's before we go into the caves, I just want to mention that they have been MIA for a few days. And then
Yeah.
finally Rune's like, this is weird. It's been actually quite a bit of time.
Yeah. It's like 2 days, 3 days or something.
After that point, then I was like, okay.
I mean, whatever. But
Anyways,
yeah, and like the continual mention of like the land feeling wrong, I was like,
that
just
part was
fucking spit it out, bro.
no, that part I was definitely like, what's wrong with it?
But like
Like,
this is the thing. This is my thing, right? Like if you're a fan, you have these powers. How do you just not know? Like if you know what's supposed to feel right, then don't you know it feels wrong? You know what I mean? And you know it feels wrong. So what is wrong?
you would argue that, yeah.
Like
Yeah, like
okay,
what is wrong? Like you're saying it's wrong. What's wrong?
exactly.
Like, yeah, if you know what's right, well, what is wrong about the wrong?
Yeah. And then, you know,
We're talking in
they
circles.
whatever. They talk about Morven and like His shadows are described as corrupted. So I'm like, okay, like, is this guy a fucking puppet of the Asteri?
I was
Like,
like, he's a Valk.
yeah, I was like, what's going on here? Whatever. So, we get all those answers though.
We do.
Um, but basically, so they go into the caves, and Bryce is like looking at all the art on the wall, and they're getting deeper and deeper and deeper.
And her and Hunt
And
go at it. I don't know at what point that happens, but they get like, I'm like, drown her. I would drown her.
yeah,
If she,
yeah.
okay, also, she speaks with this disrespect to him, number one.
Wait, where are
Rude.
Tharian and Sathya? Aren't they
They're
also
there.
with them?
And
Right?
back
They're in the caves. All of them.
And back
Yeah.
scene as well. But that's what I'm saying. Okay, so first of all, you shouldn't speak to your partner with disrespect, male or female, like no matter which side or partner you are. But number one, if you speak to me with disrespect, I'll kill you. Number two, if you do it in front of other fucking people, I'll kill you twice. Like,
Yeah.
so she's bitching out Hunt in front of all of their friends. I'd be like, are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah, and
I
they're
would
like all
literally,
pretending not to listen. Like, and then
hell,
Baxian has to like break the ice and change the subject. Like,
bro. And that's embarrassing. And I
your
would
lovers
fucking,
quarrel, take it somewhere else.
and I just hate, like, don't fucking disrespect me like that. Like, I'll fucking get real. I'll turn aggressive. I'll come for your
Yeah.
fucking neck.
And this was the part too where, Bryce makes a comment to Sathya or something about like how, the whole thing with the Fae lineage and like the duties of the Fae females or whatever. And Bryce is like, fuck the Fae. Like, I'm not doing it. Because Sathya's asking her, like, oh, like, what are you going to do if, like,
Yeah,
you
like, are
defeat
you
the
gonna
Asteria or
reunite
something?
us? Like, yeah, are you gonna like become our new
Yeah, like,
ruler?
this is the prophecy. And she's just like, fuck the Fae. And Sathya's like, what the fuck? You
Boo,
know what I
boo,
mean?
Bryce.
But like,
Yeah,
and then that's when Bryce goes like, "Oh, like you're okay with them like treating you like chattel and just using you for your womb." And Satya's like, "I've come to terms with what my future holds for me or whatever." Which, okay,
which
like
I
I
don't agree with
get, but like
either.
I get
Right?
like where she's coming from, but like also like that's wrong. But like I think the way that Bryce
She's just
goes about it is just
obnoxious. She's
like, yeah,
obnoxious. Yeah,
definitely.
she's
Well,
obnoxious.
well, anyway, so let's get to the meat. So they're in the caves, and all of a sudden, fucking Morven and the Autumn King show up,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the two twins with them, and they also have Deck and Flynn,
Mm-hmm.
and
I was like, who do they have?
and what's it called? So they're kind of like, Bryce, like fucking cede to us, and we won't kill Deck and Flynn. Bryce is like, fuck them, like I'm not listening to you.
Yeah.
So and I think she even mentions like something about like sacrificing the few for the many or some shit like that.
Yeah, and then she also like doesn't tell anyone anything and just jumps in the river. Like she's just like,
She's really on her own quest, and then she gets mad when other
yeah,
people aren't down with it. Well, she's not fucking telling anyone anything, so like you're
right.
fucking pulling all the shit out of the air,
And
like,
Hun even like makes a comment and he's like, you can tell that she knows what she's doing, but it's like her own agenda. Like she's not telling us. And
yeah,
so the reason she knew to jump in the river
it was because of her star.
was because of her star, but then she also makes a comment and says, oh, it's exactly like almost near identical to the tunnels
Mm-hmm.
back in the original world. So
Yeah,
clearly, Helena, when she came here, like based it off her mother Thea's tunnels in
yeah,
the home world. This is where I think it was convenient. That's why I like wanted to like not rush and get to this point, but that's why I wanted to like mention it because well, these tunnels, we didn't even know they existed in Akatar.
yeah,
We learned they existed in this book like 300 pages ago. And now, oh my god, they're the same as this one. Well, yeah, you just wrote this book.
okay,
Like,
but also too, Bryce went through these tunnels in Prithian. I don't know about you, but like I wouldn't fucking remember every twist and turn and how I got somewhere.
no, it was
Like
dark.
how the fuck do you have it memorized?
Right, enough to be like this is the same. Yeah, I just wish so say for example, even like Silver Flames wise, if she like wrote these tunnels and then this book, I would be like, "Oh, no fucking way." You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But it's like I'm not getting that feeling of mind blown
yeah,
when you just like the eight-pointed star literally got brought up in Silver Flames the first time. When it's in this book, I'm like, "Fuck yeah, like something's happening." You know, I'm
mm-hmm.
like this makes sense. When you write about something that happens in the first few hundred pages of this book, and then later you're like, this is the exact same in the same book, I'm
Yeah,
not like shocked. I'm like, well, yes,
yeah,
correct.
yeah. I get it.
Like, I just was like, okay, like, yeah, like you just conveniently, again, Akatar is another series. So if you had like planted these tunnels in other books, I would have been like, oh fuck yeah, like anything. Even like
Yeah.
Hewn City, like if she used Hewn City, something about that, I'd be like, oh, that's been since book two.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
I was kind of like, this is very convenient. Again,
Yeah, it was
quick plot
convenient.
points, quick writing,
And then of
convenient
course,
points.
yeah, and then of course, Bryce finds a way to fucking, have the fucking tunnels collapse on itself and they
Mm-hmm.
start running away. And, you know, they find the secret tunnel that leads to this chamber or whatever. And, Bryce
Mm-hmm.
figures out, like, oh, it's black salt. That's why everything is, like, off or whatever. And they're like, oh my God, black salt. What's black salt used for? Oh, to summon demons. Oh my God. Like, Thea was summoning fucking demons, Adis, like trying to
Yeah,
fucking
like
kill the
mentally,
Asteri.
she was like drinking like
She was
black salt
drinking the black
water,
salt, so like she would like go into this dream state and like, astral
which
project.
that's
Which okay,
convenient. Which, yeah, I'm into that. That's fine.
that was like a cool plot point. I was like, okay, sick. Like, hell had to come into play somehow.
Yes.
So, whatever, her and she's like about to drink the water and Han's like, no, and like she
And you
like
could tell she almost gets pissed.
yeah, she like is about to fucking attack him. And he's like, not, let's do it together.
This poor
Like,
guy. This poor
like
guy. I feel horrible for him.
I know.
Like I'm really like pissed at like Bryce is pissing me the fuck off. Like she's like so entitled now. She's like thinks she's hot shit.
No.
Like she's ready to fucking eat Hunt's heart out no matter what he says. Mind you, he's like, oh, like can we do it together? Like let's be a fucking team. Like you're trying to do all this by yourself because
And
you
then
think
get
you're hot
mad
shit.
when, I'm not a part of it. But like
Right.
you're
Like what do you
excluding me.
want, bitch? Like I don't know what you want. Ugh.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, anyways, I did like when they traveled to hell.
I
You
did too,
know?
but Bryce is giving me the ick. I agree. Hell
Yeah.
plot point, very cool. Don't mind that they drank it, into it, love it, all good. She, not good.
Yeah, no. I mean, from here, like this chunk of the book was good. So like,
Yeah, yeah.
they're in hell,
I
and
can open the
Adis,
book in case you want any quotes.
cool. And Adis is like, oh, finally you figured it out and you've arrived. And she's like, bitch, I've been looking for you all this time and whatever. So we find
Right.
out, that Hunt's dad is Apollyon, which is the prince of the pit, and Thanatos, which is another fucking prince of some type of thing, chasm or whatever it is. And
Yeah. But like he had a real dad too. Like,
yes,
yeah, they like
yeah,
test tube made him.
yeah, which is insane. And we also find out that his mom was an angel.
Mm-hmm. Which we
So
we
a demon
knew
and an
because
angel, that
he
was
remembered
interesting.
her.
Yeah, but like
Like,
still, like
oh yes, like the
it's kind of giving
overall.
supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like I'm watching that show right now, and it's like I'm like at the end of season 4, so it's like the fight against like the demons, like Lilith and fucking
Mm-hmm.
the angels, like Castiel and all them.
Right. So you're
Um.
into it. You're in it.
Anyways, and then we find out that like Thea split her power to the
Yes. In
sword
3.
and her 2 daughters, and basically,
Do you want me to read any parts of that? Like just like a little
yeah,
background?
nah, I don't really think it
That part's
matters that
fine.
much. No.
Okay.
Um, and we also find out that the Thunderbirds were also made an attempt. So basically, they were making all these fucking lightning
Yes.
creatures
Mm-hmm.
for one of Thea's descendants to come and fucking
Yes.
save them all, essentially.
And so yes. Okay. So basically, what they were doing in that case of making the Thunderbirds and all of that, they were doing that because they were like, well, if Helena's and Thea's descendant does not like reunite the truth teller and star sword, we need some way for her to like, or her him to be able to be powered up. And so
Hmm.
they were like, we didn't know if you'd be successful in that quest of like world jumping, obviously a little difficult. And so we started making the Thunderbird so you had like a battery pack to like power you up.
Yeah.
And so, because they were like, because Bryce even said, like, the timeline makes no sense. Like, 15,000 years. Like, how did you know
Hmm.
that, like, I'd be born? And they're like, oh, we've been doing this forever. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Um, and then the Asteri hunted all the Thunderbirds. And so they made Hunt. And they were like, this guy,
Yeah.
because he's like a human, but like also an angel. So they were like,
So
the
he could
Asteri are
live
gonna,
longer
yeah.
and all this
And they're
stuff.
like, the Asteri are gonna think that they, like, finally, like, by breeding the angels, like, made the ultimate, like, soldier. Like, they're gonna
Hmm.
think it was them. Like, that all of their breeding has created him, but, like, we created him, and it's our secret plot to have his, like, lightning power up this descendant of
Yeah.
Helena.
And this was where, Bryce and Hunt were like, if Hunt was predetermined, like, how could the mate thing be possible. And Adis was like, oh, I guess that was just convenient
Yeah,
that
like
it
literally,
happened that way.
because he literally said like, "Oh, if I was made for her, you know,
Hmm.
like to power her up, like is the mate thing like predetermined as well?" And they were basically like, "Yeah, like oh, that just happened. Oh wait, yeah, hold on, I found it. Is it in my DNA that Bryce and I are mates? Was that engineered also?"
Hmm.
And they were like, "No," but I'm like, I think that you're just attracted to each other because of this weird underlying DNA thing that you have.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, so Bryce at this point now, she has Helena's power that she was born with. That's like her starborn power. She went and got
Thea's.
Celine's, no, Celine's
Oh,
in the prison.
Celine.
And now they're like, Thea's power's missing. We don't know where it is. It was in the Star Sword. She removed it.
Oh yeah.
It's somewhere.
Yeah,
And so
she
Bryce
hid
is,
it somewhere in Avalon.
and so Bryce like has like two of three, 2/3 of the powers that she needs to have to beat the Asteri.
Yeah, so
Because
Bryce is like,
now, yeah,
well, you can finish your thought.
I was like, so now like she has like the two swords and like now has like 2/3 of her power. And now like we
Yeah.
learned Hunt's truth, so that was part of what we learned in Hell. But now we're learning like how to, get this going.
Yeah. So then she's like to Ada, she was like, well, where is the power stored? Like, where is it? And he was like, she didn't even tell me. Like, I don't even know, kind of thing. She was like, well, this is great. So, like, now, like, her quest is to figure out, like, okay, well, where is this other fucking power hidden? Um,
Quest that lasts 10 pages.
yeah. Oh, well. Because it's so convenient. So, whatever. So, anyways, they're about to leave. And Adis is like, look, if things start looking south and, like, you can't do this, he was like, just quit. He was like, choose love, live out a happy life with Hunt. Okay, cool. But, like, also, how would that be possible if they don't defeat the Asteri? How are they going to have a happy life? Is she just supposed to world jump him and her and fucking somewhere else to live together? I thought that was, like, interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he was like reminiscing about how like he wished he had time with the okay, whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, like he literally was like kind of convincing them out of it. And you're like, yeah, I didn't get his point either. And he was like, I've lived with my repercussions for a lifetime. And I'm like, what was your other choice? Also confused, but fine.
Right. Anyways,
I agree.
so they wake up and fucking the Autumn King and Morven and whatever, they're fucking there and they're like, we've been waiting fucking hours for you to wake up or whatever. And it's
Yikes.
like all fucking high stakes. And long story short, there's big battle and fucking
Big
Rune come
battle. Big
Rune,
battle.
yeah, literally. Rune comes out of nowhere and fucking sticks the fucking star sword through his father's neck. And then
Love
Bryce
it.
comes and fucking severs it off or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And
I
then she
think
goes and she fucking kills Morven.
I
Like,
think Rune severs his father's head off, and then Bryce saws off Morven's head.
there we go. Well, whatever. So now,
Siblings.
the two siblings defeated the two evil Fey monarchs. Whatever,
Which
amazing.
I was shocked the Autumn King didn't have more to him. That's what I think my point I wanted to make before. So obviously he's dead.
That was like a very abrupt end to both of their plot
Which
lines.
I don't hate because I'm glad some people are dying
Yeah.
violently. But I did really think that he was like a sympathizer and was like his like asshole vibe was like uh partially a
Hmm.
facade. And it
Yeah.
wasn't, obviously. Well, I mean
Yeah.
maybe it was, but he's dead, so we don't know. Okay.
I mean, like,
So
great, like, and that was the thing too. Is like finally when Rune like noticed that like Deck and Flynn are gone, he was like, "OMG, we gotta go to the fucking cave."
oh right, yeah, but
And just
whatever.
they've been ambling around for X amount of hours or days at
Mhm.
this point, and Rune was able to fucking fast track 20 minutes to where they were. Like, like, oh, okay, like that's great. You know what I mean?
That's like typical fantasy though, where like those things never like line up correctly,
I
which
guess. So
it is
whatever.
what it
So
is.
now all the enemies are dead, right? So now they're all triumphant, and you know, Bryce is telling Rune, like, I have 2/3 of the power. I'm trying to figure out where the last, part of the power is. And he's like, oh, I have an idea. And then, of course, they fucking figure it out that it's fucking in the earth. So
Mhm.
Bryce fucking sucks it out and is like, you are free.
It was like
And then they
there
go
was like there was
outside
like
and all the land is
slits.
green
Yes,
and
which I liked
fucking.
that. That was pretty. There was like slits in the floor. She puts both knives in. The power comes out. Okay, like pretty standard, straightforward. Like there's two slits in the earth that match the widths of the knives. Okay, um, yay. So I guess like you had to go to the original world to like get the power. It was like a key. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't mind the whole like earth healing because they basically the point of that was like the land was all dead because like the power was like sucking up so much of like just the life force. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, that was fine, but, like, it literally lasted, like you said, like, 3 pages.
okay, so here's where I want to go off for 5 seconds. Okay, it's gonna be way longer than 5 seconds. Um, I'm gonna be real with you, but I've been waiting this whole episode to say this. So Bryce does this, and of course, Rune is all cute and sentimental, and you know, he basically says to her like, "Long live the queen." He realized the
Yeah.
prophecy about his royal bloodline dying was really about the patriarchy dying, and it means that no more of this toxic masculine behavior, and Bryce will rule, and it will be lovely. And
Well,
all
5
the
seconds ago, she didn't want anything to do with the Fae, and now she's like, "I need to unite everybody. It's not just the
correct.
Fae, it's all races or whatever."
So, and then also like all the men are like, yes, long live the queen, which fine, right? Okay, whatever. I guess here's my issue, and this is where we're gonna really we could go heavy on Throne of Glass. I think is appropriate. So as you read Throne of Glass, Aelin is the queen. She's the missing queen. Everyone's rallying under her. I loved that series. I loved that plot point. The fact that she was missing, she was a beacon of hope. People rallied under her. It made sense, right? She was the last of the line. When she was found out alive, people rallied, or people were like, "Hey, I don't believe that," and that was part of the
Mhm.
book was winning everyone over. Having the houses unite. In this case, right? We again have a female queen because again the males are so toxic and patriarchy's bad. I don't disagree with any of that, right? Like I'm
Mhm.
a female who's sees the unjust situations that occur.
Mhm.
But my point is I think authors sometimes lean heavy and like they like are scared to write anything else because
Mhm.
like people are like don't do that, like we're all so woke.
Mhm.
If Rune was king and he's a good guy, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So I'm almost more annoyed that you made Bryce queen for the fact that she is a girl.
Hmm.
Honestly, Rune would probably be a better leader. As you just mentioned, Bryce didn't even want to do this 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
She could give a fuck less. Rune has been like kind of, he's humble, he has humility,
Mhm.
he would be a good ruler. And again, like even Feyre being high um lady. I don't mind that, right? Like I like that they're ruling together, right? I
Mhm.
just think I guess my point is again, I don't mind that there's a female queen and the men are like, you know, following her and believe in her. But you did that with Throne of Glass and it was a great amazing story. It fit
Mhm.
perfectly in the world you created. Don't do it
Yeah.
again. I'm fine having Rune be king in this story. I would
Yeah.
not be mad as a female. I would not be mad whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. It's
That's
just
where
like,
the woke thing I was saying before, like how you were like, oh, I didn't pick up on the undercurrent. I was like, I'm over it. And it also tied into like how similar it was to Throne of Glass. So it was like both. It was like you're rewriting that story.
mhm.
And I feel like you're doing it just for the sake of like, well, Bryce is a woman, so let's make her queen and like men don't need to rule, which is like, okay, like that's fine. But like if it makes sense in the story, I'm okay with there being a king.
Mhm.
I'm confident enough that I'm fine with that. Like
Yeah. This is crazy. I didn't think of any of this. The only
maybe
thing
I'm
I
being just controversial. This is like just we're gonna lose all of our followers. I don't know, but
great. The only yeah, I mean, like, I it doesn't bother me. Like, I don't really give a fuck. If she wants to preach women rah rah rah, like, that's great. Love it. It's cool.
fine, preach it.
But
But I guess my irritation here is that Bryce is not the best choice for this. She's being a brat. Her ego's
oh,
inflated.
it's because Bryce sucks.
Well, I guess that's what I'm saying is like Bryce sucks and you're literally just writing it because she's a woman. Like if
Mm,
she was an awesome like Aelin heroine, that makes sense. People are following her. She's a beacon of hope. She's a
mhm.
bad bitch. Bryce is being bratty and nasty and rude to everyone and has no humility. And you're like, long live the queen. And I'm like, why are they all following this girl? You know what I'm saying? Like it makes no sense. Like when they're
Mm,
all like preaching to her, like even like fucking Sasha or whatever, Sathya, whatever,
mhm.
is like, ah, long live the queen. I'm like, you just met and she's been being a dick the whole time
Yeah, and then
and telling you
you were just gunning for her. Like, you don't even care. Like, why do you want to even like? What are you gonna even
and now
do?
you've all elected her queen. So that's my problem. It's not that it's like, again, I don't care. when it was with Aelin, it made sense and I was like fully supportive. I am just a big fan of writing things or being in movies that make sense. So when you write things that just caters to like,
So when things don't make sense.
well, right, and oftentimes I feel like
So
people are writing.
you think she's just trying to fill a narrative, basically,
I think she's trying to
or
fill a
go along with the
narrative,
narrative.
right? And like everyone's so scared of cancel culture and all this stuff, which again, like you should be. Don't say fucked up things, But like
Hmm.
that's where it should end. Like if your story makes sense for there to be a male ruler or a female ruler, I don't give a fuck if they're purple, green, blue. I don't care, but make it make sense to me.
Mm.
Bryce is being a bitch. It doesn't make sense, and I
She's
feel like
unworthy.
you just made her queen because she's a girl,
Maybe, yeah.
and I'm not
SJM, we
loving
need some
it.
answers. Why did you make Bryce queen?
Yeah, like I want you to just compare her and Rune and tell me why you picked her over him because there's literally simply no reason.
It's almost kind
Again,
of like this book to me. Like, I know we keep mentioning like Throne of Glass, Throne of Glass, Throne of Glass.
it almost feels like a fan fiction. I
I
don't
literally was
know.
just about to say that it's like a fanfic of Throne of
Which
Glass.
again, maybe I'm being fucked up, but again, like I mean, again, I love when like give make me love her, make me want her to be ruler. Like
Hmm.
I don't care if she's ruler, but I feel like that was just a convenient like again like fit your narrative of like
Hmm.
there should be a queen. Okay, that's fine. If there should be a queen, make her be a queen.
Yeah.
Like if this book, right, was all about Rune on her quest, I would like it just as much. You know what
Well,
I'm saying? Like,
I think also too, like after all this, like at the end of like this part, right? Like they even say like, oh, like the look in her eyes was like queenly or something like that, right? Like, don't they say something?
bro, give me evil queen. Like
I was like,
then I retract all this. Like,
yeah,
if you make her evil and she fucking kills people, and then you got to kill her, I'm so fucking into it. Like, no notes. Then I'm like, perfect, great job, great writing.
yeah.
But if she's queen and is like genuinely the queen they all follow, and it's like ends all happy, I'm gonna be fucking irritated because
Well,
it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
she's definitely slotted, I think, for another Crescent City book, at least one
Turn her
more,
evil. I want
right? I think.
original. I want to be angry. I want controversial things. I want to be tested.
I
That's
mean,
how
yeah, me
I'm
too.
as a reader. Like, what are you doing? Ugh, I'm just irritated. And
I
so
mean,
you
like
made that.
I can understand now why everyone was kind of like this book was so lukewarm.
It is lukewarm because yeah, I could just accept like, oh yeah, she's queen, but like I don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah,
And so you made a good point. Like, where do we go from here? So,
guess we'll find out.
I mean, there's going to be the black hole adventure.
Thanks for that spoiler.
Sorry, but I mean, well, at this point they've talked about it so much, I could have
Okay,
fucking
can I tell
deducted.
you? Can I tell you a spoiler?
Okay. Spoiler. Skip ahead.
So my coworker, I was talking to her about the book, like my reactions or whatever, and she was like, "Ethan and Jezebel, meow meow meow," and I was like, "Oh, well, what's gonna happen there?" Which,
Well,
if that does go down, I don't like it. I already don't like it.
Um, well, speaking of, we actually haven't talked about them at all because I just didn't care. So we should probably mention what was going on in Crescent City. So, just as a preface, this plot point has been going on the entire time. I just wanted to put it in like one conversation piece. But it's been chronologically happening while all of that has been going on. And so Ethan, when he runs back, that's where we left off talking about Ethan. He
Oh
runs
yeah.
away from the submarine, and so he goes to the House of Flame and Shadow. How convenient! The
I
book
was like,
title,
yeah, I was like, wow, I didn't know every house had like a fucking,
House.
yeah, basically.
Which again,
This was never mentioned
you'd
ever.
think you'd mention that. Anyways, okay, so yeah, I mean that's cool. Like I'm into it, but I wish you would have just mentioned it.
Yeah.
That they had like a little headquarters. So Ethan runs down there and he's like, "Someone must necromance Siggy," and I'm like, "Of course." I already speculated this bitch was not dead because I'm like, and I almost said it like ironically to be like, is she really dead? Because
Yeah.
you just you fucking know. Okay, and again, this is where I'm saying Lydia got shot. We saved her. Yay. This woman was decapitated. Leave her dead.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
And it just
yeah,
ends up in a whole heap more of trouble.
yeah, which annoys me. So as you mentioned, Ethan's a history major. Convenient.
Convenient.
Mm-hmm. He
As
works
soon
for
as I read that, I
Jezebel.
was like, bro,
So yeah,
what?
he's annoying me, but Jezebel has an interesting story.
For sure. I loved Jessica's story.
Okay. And so he goes to her for help. I mean, the only part I don't like about this is that she just so willingly tells Ethan this when she didn't tell Bryce this ever. Like
Hmm.
random. But
Yeah, and
I
at the
don't,
end of the conversation, he was like, "Why are you telling me all this?" And she was like, or she was like, "You're asking too many questions," and he was like, "Well, why are you answering?"
Right. Yeah. So Jezebel basically turns out she was a priestess in Parthos, the old ancient library. And long story short, when it was getting destroyed, she took some books, she escaped.
Hmm.
Um
But one of the
sh
princes of hell,
yes.
right, was trying to kill her or something, and like accidentally gave her some of his power.
Yeah, so she's now immortal because she was a human.
Yeah,
She's now immortal, so then she like
she
wasn't
went to the
like disguised as
witches.
a witch. Now she's in
She
flame and
left the witches.
shadow. Yes.
Yeah,
So she's kind of just like a bad bitch. That's basically her
she's
story.
kind
It
of
was
been all over the
interesting.
place. Yeah, I mean, like I liked that for her,
Yeah,
and
fine.
it makes sense why, like,
She's weird and knows everything.
yeah, like Griffin Antiquities, like is named
Mm-hmm.
after,
The boat, Griffin,
yeah,
that she was like
that the
smuggling the books
books,
away on.
yeah.
Makes sense why she's so knowledgeable. So yeah, so she was around before like the Asteri, so that's pretty cool. Um, and then like obviously once they came and they were destroying things, like that's why, you know.
Hmm.
Anyways, so now she recruits Hypaxia. Hey, come fucking revive Siggy. We also find out when Hypaxia gets there, she's no longer the witch queen. Queen. Oh my god. They kicked her out. They're trying to kill her. So now Hypaxia is like, I will also defer. No longer a witch. I will be in Flame and Shadow as well. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Fine. So
First of all, yeah, and like just the fact that like,
you can all just defer like this. I'm confused.
well, that, but like also like of course they're gonna call Hypaxia. Like, what other necromancer is there
Right. Which I wish this just
that
wasn't
we
the
know
point.
of? I guess, so it's like of course she comes back.
Right. And then
And but I was also like, did no one fucking remember how the last fucking
that's
session
what
with
I
her
was
and Ethan
thinking.
went?
Yeah, literally that's what I was thinking
Why
as
would you
well.
call her back? Obviously,
Right.
okay, we'll give her another try. Hmm.
So we also find out when she's there that her and Celestina broke up, which that makes sense because she's a piece of
Yeah,
shit. So great.
rightfully so.
Um,
Which is also crazy though, because like I don't know, like the whole thing with like Celestina was like,
well,
the
it was
whole
a big
reason why
plot
she
point.
sold him out was because she would do anything for Hypaxia.
Which that makes sense on Hypaxia's stance that she was like, well, that was fucked up of you. So like that's
Yeah, so it was all for
checks out.
nothing.
Yeah, no, but that's like a normal all for nothing plot point. I'm not mad about it. Like that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
she did it for love, and then her friend was like, well, those are my fucking
Mm,
friends, so fuck you. Um, Also, we learn more about wolf history in the Findir line. I forget what we learn. I don't remember.
I wrote.
You
The wolf
know,
history is something.
let me look it up.
Um, oh, it was with Murdoch. Like the strongest. They were breeding like the Fendir line for like the strongest
Mm-hmm.
wolves kind of thing,
Yes, you
and
are
then,
correct.
you know, Danica was too powerful, and they knew they couldn't control her like they could control Sabine.
Yes, you're actually
So
correct.
so they had Micah fucking kill her off.
Right, and also because she was like, willful and like, trying to figure out the truth and all that.
Yeah,
It was like
and
a
that's why,
combination.
and that's they made Sabine and Murdoch
Like have
breed.
sex. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. That
which
was
is
all.
interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. I knew it was like a little revelation. I forgot what it was, but you're absolutely correct. And so Hypaxia goes to work. She revives Siggy. Why we think this is going to work out? Great. It doesn't. And so Siggy is now resurrected as a Reaper.
Yeah,
Apparently she like had the choice because like the fucking what's
Under
his name?
King.
Yeah, the Under King like saw Hypaxia doing this and was like, "LOL, I'm gonna go see what's going on," and was like, "Hey Siggy, do you want to be a Reaper instead?" And she was like, "Yes, I do." Um, I,
Don't
yeah,
get
like
it.
okay, so here's my
Fucking
thing.
stupid, honestly.
Okay, here's my whole thing with this plot. I feel like it's opening up um the point of Ethan being Prime, but then
Okay.
just leave it like she was dead, so she can be dead. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I would have rathered that just been a thing. Like why do you bring her back? Like just don't bring her back. I'm sick of everyone coming back to life. I just really am. I just don't like it. Like I don't like it as a trope. I don't like it as a plot point. I want people to be dead who are dead. Like, again, she was decapitated. I get that,
Yeah.
like, now it didn't work. If it worked, it would have been more annoying, obviously. But even it not working, I'm just like, leave her dead. Like, so, anyways, she's a Reaper. She was the Under King, whatever. While we're still in Ethan's world, they bomb Asphodel Meadows and the Asteri,
The
meaning by
humans,
they.
yeah.
So they bomb Okay. The Asteri bomb Asphodel Meadows, which is all the humans in Crescent City. And when Ethan is like trying to help, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is crazy." So again, you have Ethan showing leadership and caring and compassion.
Hmm.
So
Why do
if
you need
you
Sigrid? Why do you need that
correct,
plot line?
if you're gearing up for Ethan to be prime, which I feel as though you've been for a while
Yeah.
in a few books,
Mhm.
why even have it?
Yeah. And
Even
that whole thing too, like literally I was
even her
reading
in
it.
general, like like why
Yeah.
did the mystic have to be a wolf? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing too, like with Sabine saying that, like, when she first sees Siggy, she's like, "Oh, you look just like him." Like she has such hatred for her brother or whatever. But like he wasn't as strong as her, so like Sabine was gonna be prime apparent anyway. So it's like you're beating a dead
Yeah,
horse here. And it was very reminiscent to me of like Frankenstein, honestly.
it is, and
They resurrect Siggy, now she's fucking evil, and now she's gonna go off killing people. Like,
I also feel like I can see people's stances with this book. I'm enjoying it. It's an entertaining read, but I think a lot of plot points she's making are simply not for the overall plot, but just for the shock factor. Oh my gosh, she's alive. Oh my god, she has two sons. Like,
mm-hmm,
okay, but where are you going with this? It's shocking if it's intentional.
mm-hmm.
You're just shocking me to shock me. And I see through it and I don't like it. Like, I'm over it. Like, oh my god, she's alive. Like, okay, but like, if it ends up that she's dead anyways and Ethan becomes Prime, I'm fucking saying it now. I'll be angry and I'll be like, why did you do that?
I don't know. Unless it's just to like, really just further push Ethan into like a fucking self-pity party, then okay. But like I'm over that as well. Like I'm tired of these fucking characters feeling bad about the decisions they've made. Get over it. You did
Agreed,
it and now
agreed.
let's move on and fucking it's a
Right.
fantasy novel for God's sake. You could fucking do something else and fix it. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. And so I guess because we're now like having all these speculations is a good part to say, well, let's start with what did we think about this part overall, and then let's end with where we think it's going because we're already like theorizing. So let's like talk about it. Like so how did we like this part overall first?
Like what? Like a rating?
I mean, you don't need to give me like a specific rating if you mean you can. But I know like you said you were angry in the beginning. Like that was the only text that you really sent me, and then you were like, "Oh, JK, it's all making sense. I'm into it." So like, did that stay true? Like,
This is I feel very mixed.
mm-hmm.
There's definitely parts of the book that I like and there's definitely parts of the book that I don't like.
Right.
And that's why I just feel like it's like lukewarm,
I do feel
you
like it's
know?
lukewarm. I don't have the same
I'm not
obsession
thrilled, but I'm
reading
not.
like Akatar the first time. Like it made sense. It was all very like going
Hmm.
where it
I
was
feel
going.
okay, this is my thing. I don't feel motivated to read because I'm so invested. I'm motivated to read because I just want to know what happens. Like, just tell me the ending. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not reading
Yeah.
it to like fully be like, whole, like,
Yeah, I'm not like, oh my god. And again, I think it's because it's being done so quickly. Like all the
hmm
plot points are like again, like it's a plot point introduced like 400 pages ago, and then she's like, oh my god, this crazy revelation. I'm like the one that you just told us about.
like
You know?
I feel like it's not giving me like cult vibes. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like something I believe in and I feel strongly about. It's just something that I just need
Mm-hmm.
to know what happened. Like,
Yeah,
let's
and
just
that's
get
like
to the end.
whereas Akatar, like I was invested. I was like fully like, yes. Throne of Glass. I was fully like, yes.
I
Like,
mean, yeah, sobbing at those books.
right. This I'm not sobbing.
No, I don't think I cried once reading Crescent City.
The first one I did.
For
Like
what?
when Labaha,
Oh,
Leheba,
Leheba.
when she died, I
Oh,
cried.
I remember feeling very sad, but that was pretty much it.
I feel like Crescent City won, and like even like the fact when like that when Micah was like, and again I know we add layers to it that the Steery were like the ones eating the powers and stuff. But like when Micah like killed Danica and like injected her with synth, I was like, holy shit! Like I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god. Um, and even like book two with the Asteri, the fact that like that again, like I feel like again this is like a classic SJM thing. Her middle parts, like her build up, is shocking. Oh my god, Danica's murder was this. Oh my god, the Asteri are parasites. But now that you're closing it all together, and like your explanation for your reasoning behind like Thea and Helena and Celine, I feel like it's falling short. I feel like you're writing convenient things to make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
You have all these random side quests going on that I don't care about.
Yeah.
I'm not invested in the characters like I used to be with Akatar and Throne of
No,
Glass.
definitely not.
I need more of
Like
a
honestly,
slow burn.
honestly, to be honest, like I think I'd only be upset if Rune or Lydia died at this point.
Agreed. Agreed fully. Fully agreed.
Like if Bryce died, I'd be like, okay, great. Like if
Indifferent.
Hunt died, I think I would be more upset if Hunt died over Bryce.
Well, yeah, because she's being so mean to him, and I would just be sad. I'd be like, wow. Sad.
Yeah, all that for nothing.
Okay, so I think we're on the same page, which I'm glad. So now where do we think this is going? How do we think it's going to end? What's the big ending that we're expecting? I don't have high hopes for her endings. Her
I
endings are never good. That's just simply.
I think she's gonna march into the fucking Eternal City,
Hmm.
and she's gonna like have a face off with Ridiculous, but we're not gonna get answers. Like it's gonna leave on a cliffhanger, I think.
I think that just because I know there's a black hole adventure, I think that she banishes the theory into this black hole, which is going to be so Throne of Glassy, it's going to annoy me.
Mm. I
Um,
forgot about you mentioned that at the beginning. Totally forgot. See, I already forgot spoiler.
Amazing. But even that for Throne of Glass, you know my stance. I did not like the Throne of Glass black hole adventure either.
No, you didn't. I
So
didn't
I'm
mind
gonna
it.
be really annoyed with this one.
What if she
Um,
locks herself in the void
that's
with
what I'm
the
saying.
Asteri?
Like, give me something crazy.
Or like throws Hunt in there with them?
I think the more I'm reading, again, like the multiverse was really sick at first, and you're like, oh my god, it all connects. Now I'm getting irritated that you're like just reusing plot
Well, like
points.
this is the thing, right? That's so funny is like, there's so much hype about CC3 coming out and everyone's like,
Hmm.
"Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." And I remember like we were like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." And, the reason why we started this fucking podcast was because this book was coming out and we were like, we need to read
I
all the other
know. I
ones
didn't
in
think we were gonna talk
anticipation.
so much shit. I didn't. I didn't
And
expect for us to be like
you
so
would think,
negative.
yeah, you would think that we were like SJM's like biggest haters.
Right, which is crazy. Like, guys, we loved these books, which is so. But like, the more I've dissected it, I'm like, but do I? Like, I do. I love Akatar. I think when I'm gonna reread it in the future again.
I cannot
And
reread that book until like fucking 5 years down the line.
no,
I'm
no, for
over
sure,
it.
same. But I think I'll like love it again. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
on its own.
Yeah.
Um, I think that right now, just all of her series like are intertwining too much. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
now, right? I want original plot points. Like, if you had, that little mashup multiverse intro thing. But
Mm-hmm.
then again, like Briggs became evil and all this stuff, and you wrote an original story, I'd be like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
like that makes sense. But like, you can't have all of it end great with all the queens and the woman in power and all this stuff. And oh, it's the same thing. The land is dying, and oh, there's world jumpers, and oh, black holes. Let's banish them there. Like, you can't have the same thing over and over again.
Mm. Well, I mean, yeah, and that's the thing too. Is like, there was like a lot of hype. I feel when she announced that she was writing the next book of Akatar, and
Mm-hmm.
then when it was confirmed that it was Elaine's book, everyone was like, "Well, fuck this! Like, it's like what more can we really go into with this?" Which I really hope
But
she
I'm
does us all a
almost,
solid and fucking
yeah,
revives
like
us.
I'm honestly hopeful.
But
Like I
she's
said,
making
like
that other series too. She's starting a new
yeah,
series.
I don't
I hope
want it.
it's completely separate from like this world.
Yes, agreed. I want it to be so different. Yeah, and even Elaine's book, like if she does like again like an Elaine, Lucian, Azriel, Tamlin, it could be cool. It could be, and
Wait,
again, what?
hold on. This is so random, but I saw this thing. Spoiler, possible. People are saying that what's her name? Nesta's friend, the priestess, the
Gwen.
orange, Gwen. They're saying that Gwen is Eris's daughter.
Weird.
Interesting, right? But like
Hmm.
people are pulling up page numbers, paragraphs. I'm like, yo, what's going on here?
Wow, interesting. Yeah, see, I just want something different. Like, again, like I would love Elaine reject the mating bond, go for Tamlin, like do something fucking unhinged. Like
Yeah,
again, like I feel like you're giving me the same tropes of like children,
yeah.
this, that, mates, and I'm like, okay, like fine.
Oh, you know what else was what we didn't talk about that I thought was really cool when they were in hell? Like we learned that like the vampires were a
Mm-hmm.
part of their army and they defected to the Asteri, and I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
wow, that's
funny.
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, which makes sense. Checks out for the vampires. Yeah, okay. So I guess I don't know. I think I'm just ready for something fresh and new. Like honestly, the more I'm sitting here talking about this and then I'm like thinking about Fourth Wing and like that plot line, I'm like, yeah, like that was exciting. Like that was like, oh my
Yeah,
god. And I was like, yes.
yeah,
Yes. Like I wonder, I mean, obviously again, I think it's just when you analyze things and you reread it and you deep dive, like you're just like, okay, like this is a lot. So I'm wondering like if it genuinely is SJM trading similar things that we're sick of, or I wonder like, if we do a deep dive on Fourth Wing when we do it, like are we also gonna be like, okay, we're over it? But I feel like
mm,
no, I feel like it's just Sarah's written a lot of the same stuff for us. And
yeah.
we're realizing it now because we've just analyzed it all.
It's hard. The basically the market is saturated. Like her market is saturated with a lot. I mean, maybe it's very hard to be original. I'm not a writer. I don't know. but
Right. Yeah, as we sit here shitting on Sarah, we are not $1 million writers,
yeah.
so what can we say?
Does our opinion really matter? I mean, I
I
don't really
just think
know.
like so much of it was so good, and I think she's just reusing a little bit too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
Which
again,
was,
you created this world, and it was awesome,
hmm
awesome.
but this was the thing too. Is like, this few spoilers that I had seen or mentions of Crescent City 3. Like,
Hmm.
no one was really talking about the connections to Throne of Glass. Like, I
Yeah, which
didn't
I think
see
is weird.
that, which I thought was strange. I'm like, am I the only one who's thinking this?
Well, I am interested because, as you mentioned today, I didn't even see this. One of my friends, Helena, she's one of the ones we mentioned that had been reading this book since it came out, and she's like, I can't get into it. I can't get into it. And I think like after part two, like she read up to like the end of part two, which is where we just finished. And then you said like she updated her Goodreads, said that she finished it, and she was like
Yeah,
sobbing,
yeah.
which I cannot see unless it's Rune and Lydia. No tears will be shed.
Like she said that and Kingdom of Ash were like the hardest hitting books for her, and I was like, wow, because Kingdom of
Yeah,
Ash is a really fucking tough one to like,
I haven't
not
read
tough to
that.
get through, like fucking
Just crazy shit.
emotional.
Hmm. I'm interested. I'm
But I was
intrigued.
like, really, this one interesting.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, I want to like
Well,
read like
Helena, give us your thoughts.
right. She actually she's dedicated. She will text me that we talked about her like when she listens to this part. She was actually the one who texted me and was like, "Hey, did you know that your one episode like you put the same thing twice?" And I was like, "Thank you, amazing." And I
She's
edited it
so
and
good.
fixed it. Yeah, so good. She's like, "I just noticed, by the way." She's like, "It was at minute like 19.8." I was like, "Thank you,
Yeah.
amazing."
Shout out to our editor, Helena,
Right, Helena,
a
edit for
proof
us so we don't have
listener.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
she really is. Yeah, so I'm curious. I want to hear. Yeah, she has texted me about it. I'm so curious. Yeah, I'm just ready for like some books to like shake me to my core. More than this, I need more. I want intensity. That's why I'm like
Yeah.
debating on the Hunting Adeline. People like really rave about it, so I wouldn't mind some spicy shaking me to my core books.
Yeah, I have seen that on TikTok now that you mention it. Like, the cover is what I keep thinking of, and people
Yes,
are like,
yes.
oh my God, oh my God.
So I'm not opposed to it. Maybe we can put it into the little schedule after we do
Is that a
Housemaid.
standalone, though? Or is there more books?
No,
I
but I don't
don't
really
want to
care
do
at
a
this.
series
No,
book.
I agree. I agree. But I think we could just do the first one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like we can make whatever rules we want. So
that's true.
who cares?
Anyways, well, thank y'all for listening to us ramble and jamble about this.
I think we did great. Hopefully no one's too angry.
Yeah, seriously.
But it is
These
what
are
it
just
is.
our opinions. There's
Oh
no
yes.
fact behind
Oh, there's
them.
no fact in anything we say.
That's why it's literal nonsense, literally.
Yeah, no, don't take us to heart. We're just opinionated with no basis to stand
We're
on.
just girls. We're just
Right.
girls.
Right. Well, anyways, we'll see you guys next week for the conclusion. Oh my God, Hallie. The conclusion, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
not only of Crescent City 3, but also the Crescent City series, also our coverage on SJM.
Insane. What a journey it's
Thank
been.
God.
I can't
I'm
wait
so
to talk
excited for
about
all
other
that's to
books.
come. Yeah. Oh my God, guys. I'm
Seriously.
so excited. So, yeah, we'll be doing after episode 17, which will be Crescent City part 3. Um, we will be doing Housemaid.
Yep.
One
Stay
part.
tuned.
That's it.
Well,
And then we
so
have a summer of fun.
summer fun.
Mm-hmm.
Dun
All
dun
right.
dun. Anyways,
Well, we'll see you guys next week for
it's been a
this
pleasure.
epic conclusion, I hope.
Hope so.
All right.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye. See you soon.
Bye.